It is all the news all the time, and my name is Danny, and I'm a dog, and and Adam's away today. He is whitewater rafting in the Sahara Desert, so that's all nice for him. It is a real pleasure to have you here, and we're looking at some interesting stories today. Do you recognise this person here? This person right here? Of course you do. That is Velma. Velma Dinkley, her name is. That's right. So why are we talking about Velma Dinkley at the moment? Well, there's a new HBO series coming out, and it's all about Scooby Do. Apart from the main problem is there's no Scooby Do in Scooby Do. So that's a minor issue which we'll deal with in a second. So let's have a little look. IndieWire, they're saying Velma showrunner, one of these people here, explains Scooby Doo's absence on the new HBO Max series. That's what made it a kids show. He says the presence of Scooby Doo makes it a kids show. He might be right. He might be wrong. I don't know. What's your opinion on that? The talking dog thing. So we've got Damien Holbrook, Mandy Kaling, Sam Richardson, Constance Wu, Glenn Howerton, Charlie Grandy. There's more names than there are people, but okay. Speak on stage at HBO Max's Velma panel. So this is we got some pictures in the background. My apologies. The Scooby Doo universe is about to come back in a big way. They hope, but don't expect Scooby Doo to be involved. Now, why would I expect Scooby Doo to be involved in a show called Scooby Doo? Oh, it's called Velma, but okay, but it's the Scooby Doo universe without Scooby Doo. Okay, so we got Velma, which is a new adult animated series. Yes, you heard that right, adult animated series of Scooby Doo. Adult anime? Okay, that features Mindy Kaling, there she is, as the voice of the titular character. It's one of my least favourite words, that one, titular. I find it ridiculous. It promises to satisfy long-time fans of the cartoon, they say, who want to pair their nostalgia with a more mature sense of humour. So nobody then. Nobody wants to do that. It features adult versions of the crew. Weren't they already adults? I mean, weren't they adults? I think maybe they were, maybe they weren't. It features adult versions of the crew from the Mystery Machine. I love that van. But in order to ensure that Velma, there she is front and centre, Scooby himself won't be making any appearance. Oh, of course not. Appearing on a panel for the show at New York Comic Con, showrunner Charlie Grandy. Are we thinking this guy? Maybe. Charlie Grandy explained that the decision to omit Scooby Doo from the series was an attempt to differentiate the adult show from the family-friendly property that inspired it. This is the issue, isn't it? They've taken intellectual property that was previously owned by someone else. Now Warner Brothers owns it, as far as I understand, and Warner Brothers is trying to make money from it, and so they're launching all these TV shows. There's two, but we'll get to that in a second as well. When we are going into the show and thinking about adapting it, we wanted to be respectful, Grandy lied. We didn't want to just take these beloved characters and put them in outrageous or gross situations, he told the truth, and say, isn't it crazy you did that to Velma? Because that's exactly what they did. That's precisely what they did. So while they considered finding ways to add Scooby-Doo to the show, the creative team just couldn't find a way to balance the two sensibilities. In many ways I'm with you, because the presence of a talking dog is very jarring to reality, because dogs don't talk, and how do you do that in a live action scene? But this isn't a live action, this is an animation, so I mean, you could easily put something like that in an animation for sure, but there you go. What do I know about anything? Not much, to be honest. We couldn't get a take on that. It was like, how does this guy speak? How do we kind of do this in a fun, modern way? He said, that felt like what made it a kids show was Scooby Doo. Does he speak in full sentences? Okay. Grandy also made it clear that even though Scooby-Doo won't show his face because he doesn't exist, the new series still exists in the same universe as the iconic mystery-solving canine. So there you go. That's quite fun. There's a little section down here. I was reading this and I came to this. I was like, what? What? So the more adult subject matter in Velma is likely to please James Gunn, who attempted to write an R-rated live-action Scooby-Doo movie. I'm sorry, what? An R-rated live... it beggars imagination. I mean, I mean, what Velma and Daphne and oh my God. So R-rated live-action Scooby Doo movie in 2002, before the studio interference ultimately led to the script being watered down into a family-friendly film. God knows what would happen. God knows what would have happened. R-rated Scooby Doo. The first Scooby Doo was originally intended by himself to be PG-13, but we never got a PG-13 rating, he said. The first rating was for an R rating, and then a bunch of stuff was changed. I bet it was. I can't even imagine. How do you do an R-rated Scooby Doo film? I mean, what? Who knows? Huh? Who knows? I'm like, I've got to do some. Yeah. See.
I missed something. Can you say it again?
Thanks, Alexa.
Anytime.
Okay, so what's going on? We've got, there's Mindy Kaling explains the decisions to change Velma's race. Oh yeah, we've got a race swap as well in HBO's Max's Scooby Doo spin-off. She's saying why Velma's race was changed for the new Scooby Doo. There she is. Velma Dinkley. We had a picture of her. Yeah, there she is. And has really been popping off as late. Her position as a gay icon was finally cemented in a recently released Scooby Doo movie, and the character is set to be the centre of the HBO Max spin-off series Velma, which stars Mindy Kaling in the lead role. The show will change things up a bit, as the as the sleuth has been race bent, switched rather than bent. Yeah. Because bent means sort of the same direction but a little bit different. A creative decision which drew backlash that Kaling has since addressed. We'll come to this backlash and why people address it, and sometimes how they address it before it's even happened. But now, the Never Have I Ever creator, has shed some light on her decision to alter the character's race for the production. It's basically a self-insert. That's exactly what it is. Here she says, "We knew it would be fun for me to play Velma." Who said that? You said it'd be fun for you to play Velma. But we had a conversation where Velma is white. Let's have a look. Yes. And we have this new choice to do the show. And if I'm voicing her, should she be white or should she not? We were really inspired by Into the Spider-Verse. It's animation. We can do anything. The essence of Velma is not necessarily tied to her whiteness, and I identify so much as our character, and I think so many people do, so it's like, yeah, let's make her Indian in this series. It is directly a self-insert of her personality into the role. So there you go. That's why she's Indian. Okay, randomly. What else is going on? Oh yeah, Jinkies. Scooby Doo, as we now know, Velma is finally portrayed as a lesbian after they were saying things. Canonically a lesbian, that's what they're saying. And what else is going on? Confirmation of her queerness explicitly on the screen has been a long time coming, they claim. With a history of queer coding, cutscenes and spiked queer pop lines, consistently disappointing LGBTQ plus fans. A lot of this I don't believe is true. We'll come to that as well. Some comments here. Frankenlau, lesbian Velma's real. Zingy saying, I never thought I'd live to see the day when Velma is clearly having gay thoughts on screen. Is this what you live for every day? Good on you. The first Scooby Doo iteration, definitely not straight. Infamous live action 2002 Scooby Doo. But most of, as far as I can understand, most of the time, this woman, Velma, has been interested in, you see these pictures here are these celebration of how gay they are, and even Google gets involved. If you type in Velma, you get all these gay pride flags turning up, which is marvellous, and that would be great if it was in fact factually true. But Velma has been chasing after Shaggy for the entire cartoon series. They've been kissing faces. Oh, that's a slightly different thing. They've been kissing faces from the very beginning. So I believe that this Velma being gay thing is really a male fantasy, which can be demonstrated by this. It's mostly fan art of Velma and Daphne being romantically linked, and that's just a male fantasy, to be honest. And I think that's what they're playing up to, in my personal opinion. But yeah, And Velma herself has been chasing boys endlessly. And in fact, she's quite assertive in her attraction for Shaggy. And if you actually watch some of the cartoons. So, but yeah, you can claim that she's gay if you want to. But some of the controversy relating to this and some of the backlash, as they call it, and the reason they've addressed it, comes from fan baiting. Now, fan baiting, this is quite complicated, but it's worth understanding, I think. Fan baiting is a form of marketing used by producers, film studios and actors with the intent of exciting artificial controversy, garnering publicity and explaining away negative reviews for new and often highly anticipated production or not cared about production. So it's a method of baiting the fans using race swapping and gender swapping and sexuality swapping in order to garner publicity. So he continues, fan baiting emerged as a marketing strategy in 2016 after the Ghostbusters and Star Wars fans objected to what they saw as poor writing choices, poorly written scripts, cheap alterations to plot lines and characters for the sake of shock value. Along these critics, there's a small group of bigoted but vociferous commentators who objected to the inclusion of black and female actors in roles traditionally held by white male actors. Some of these individuals began publicly harassing the actors. Bigots have always attacked diversity on screen, but in a highly polarised political climate, instances of harassment garnered disproportionately massive media coverage, which provided production studios with both free publicity and a new defence against actual criticism of their movie. So you can use the claimed statements by people and use it to deflect any form of criticism. Studios seized the opportunity to discredit criticism of poor writing and acting, insinuating that these two were motivated by bigotry. What used to be accepted as standard critiques were increasingly dismissed as part of the ignorant commentary of a toxic fandom. So this is where Mandy's statements have come out already, and she's addressing issues before even anything's come out, which I find very interesting. Soon it became standard practice before release to issue announcements specifying diverse casting choices, coupled with preemptive declarations of solidarity with the cast, whom they now counted on to receive disparaging and harassing comments. Actors who were women and or BIPOC became props and shields for craven corporate laziness and opportunism. The studios saved money both by avoiding expensive veteran writers as well as by offloading publicity to news outlets and social media covering the artificial controversy. If we go back to some of these, I was looking on Facebook, simple posts like this were getting 10,000 comments, and about a Scooby Do movie that no one cares about. So fan baiting really does work in terms of publicity and marketing. Fan baiting works. It brings in a new sympathetic audience whose endorsement is more about taking a public stance against prejudice than any real interest in Scooby Doo. Fan baiting also permits studios to cultivate public skepticism over the legitimacy of poor reviews. It's a double-edged sword. You can bring in social justice activists who want to be seen as doing the right thing, and you can also claim any skepticism about your product is dismissed because it's coming from a toxic fandom and is just bigots. So brilliant. And all you've got to do is swap the race of the lead character, or swap the gender, or swap the sexuality, or just swap something, and you've got this massive publicity behind you. Brilliant. The true nature of fan baiting is never so clear as when a script is well crafted and audience reviews are accordingly positive, exposing the announcements, declarations of solidarity, grooming of skepticism for what they really are, cynical corporate marketing tactics. So, put another way, media corporations have found a way to monetize the racism that they set their actors up to receive. So there you go. I mean, there's examples of it in the Rings of Power. There's examples of it everywhere. Once you start seeing it, you see it everywhere. I think a key example of this would be Facebook posts. If I bring up this is Variety, which is quite a large organisation. This is a post from Variety 4 hours ago. It's got 49 interactions, 4 shares. This one 10 and 1. This one 2, 9, 2 and 7. This one 349 and 19, 221 14, 13 and 1, 600 and 252. Oh, this is a big film. What else is going on? 929. Wow, Dancing with Stars and 10. So you can see all these articles, 12 and 1. They all have different amounts of interaction. 143 and 12. If we look at a post with fan baiting on it, 10,000 comments or interactions, 4,000 comments, 1.3 thousand shares, 10,000 interactions. Fan baiting works as a marketing strategy. It is incredibly effective. All you have to do is swap one thing, bait the fans, and you get all the free publicity you can handle. For a show, to be honest, no one really cares about. A new Scooby Do, do you care? Do I care? 10,000 people are interacting with it with 4,000 comments. So as opposed to non-fan baiting, 199 25, 78 and 9, 386 and 18, and so on and so forth. 10 and 3, but you do some fan baiting, 10,000 interactions, 4,000 comments, and I've seen this on so many different sites, not just Variety. So there you go. That's my personal opinion on fan baiting and how the system is being marketed and how films are being marketed these days by race swapping, gender swapping, sexuality swapping and fan baiting. So let me know your thoughts, your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions. I'll leave some videos up here if you want to watch another video, and I will see you guys later.